The internet didn't just gasp, it froze, because a bombshell just detonated that nobody saw coming, and it's ripping through one of the most famous families in reality TV history. Traci Braxton's son has allegedly stepped forward with claims so explosive that fans are calling it the darkest betrayal the Braxton name has ever faced. This isn't a rumor floating around fan pages. This is an exposure that insiders say was buried for years because the fallout would be unrecoverable. And now it's out. According to what's blowing up online right now, Towanda Braxton may have been secretly involved with Traci's husband, Kevin Surratt, and the revelation didn't come from gossip blogs, but from Traci's own son, who insiders say is done protecting people who never protected his mother. The moment the allegations surfaced, social media went into full meltdown mode. Old clips are being replayed. Awkward moments suddenly make sense. Arguments that felt random now feel rehearsed. Fans are realizing they may have watched a family implode in plain sight without ever knowing why. Insiders are whispering that Traci tried to warn people, that there were confrontations that never aired, that certain relationships were never what they appeared to be. And now, with Traci gone, the silence she kept may finally be breaking through her son's voice. Because when grief meets truth, there's nothing left to lose. Stay right here. Because if even half of what's being alleged is true, this isn't just drama, it's betrayal layered with secrecy, loyalty shattered, and a family image that may never recover. What finally set this off wasn't a press interview or a staged TV moment. It was rage. Quiet, simmering, years-old rage that finally snapped. According to multiple alleged insiders, Traci Braxton's son had reached a breaking point watching his mother's legacy be discussed, reshaped, and packaged without him or his father anywhere in sight. The exclusion hurt, but what hurt more, sources claim, was knowing why things fractured the way they did and watching everyone pretend it never happened. And when he finally spoke, he didn't just vent, he exposed. It started with a private conversation that was never meant to leave the room. A conversation where he allegedly confronted someone close to the family and said, "You don't get to rewrite history when I was there watching it happen." That sentence alone reportedly made the room go silent, because everyone there knew exactly what he was referring to. Within days, whispers began circulating that Traci's son was ready to talk, not vaguely, not emotionally, but specifically. Names, moments, timelines. And at the center of it all was Towanda Braxton and Kevin Surratt. According to alleged receipts now spreading online, the relationship between Towanda and Kevin went far beyond family concern or emotional support. Insiders claim boundaries were crossed during a time when Traci was already vulnerable, and those boundaries were never properly addressed because exposing them would have detonated the family brand. Screenshots began surfacing that showed late-night messages, overly familiar language, and tension-filled exchanges that don't read like innocent check-ins. One message that went viral reads, "This can't keep happening. It's not right." Another allegedly responds, "Please don't make this bigger than it already is." Fans didn't miss the implication. Suddenly, old scenes from the show started trending again. Viewers replayed moments where Traci looked uncomfortable in group settings, where tension flared seemingly out of nowhere between sisters, where Kevin appeared guarded and distant. At the time, it was edited as normal family drama. Now, people are saying it looks like suppression. Like something was being danced around, never named, never confronted on camera. And the most haunting part, Traci herself had called Towanda a snake in a heated, unaired confrontation that later leaked online years ago, a moment many dismissed as sisterly fighting. Now it feels like a warning nobody took seriously. Insiders allege Traci wasn't unaware. She knew something was off. There were arguments behind closed doors, emotional breakdowns, and moments where she questioned loyalty within her own family. One source claims Traci once said, "I don't trust what I can't see anymore," during a particularly intense argument. At the time, nobody knew what she meant. Now, that sentence is being reposted everywhere like a prophecy. Social media chaos erupted almost instantly. Twitter turned into a war zone, with fans choosing sides and demanding answers. Some accused Traci's son of exploiting his mother's name. Others defended him fiercely, saying he was finally saying what Traci couldn't say publicly. TikTok creators stitched together timelines, comparing dates of family conflicts with alleged messages and moments when Kevin and Towanda appeared unusually close. One clip showing Towanda defending Kevin during a past argument went viral with the caption, "This hits different now." Then came the alleged confrontation that people can't stop talking about. According to a source close to the family, Traci once confronted Towanda directly, accusing her of overstepping and disrespect. Voices were raised, tears were shed, and Towanda allegedly responded by saying, "You're imagining things." That line, if true, is what pushed fans over the edge, because imagining things is exactly how people get silenced, especially women who sense betrayal but are told they're being dramatic. Kevin Surratt's role in all of this has only fueled the fire. Insiders claim he's been caught between defending himself and protecting Traci's peace while she was alive. Some say he tried to shut things down quietly. Others claim he never fully addressed the situation, hoping it would blow over. And that silence, that's what Traci's son says he can't forgive. Because from his perspective, silence allowed confusion, resentment, and distance to poison everything after his mother passed. The family's behavior after Traci's death is now being scrutinized under a microscope. Fans are asking why Kevin and Traci's son were so visibly absent from major moments, why they weren't fully included in honoring her legacy, why it felt like they were pushed to the margins. Allegedly, it wasn't accidental. One source claims certain people were uncomfortable with Kevin being too visible because he knew too much. That sentence alone has been repeated across comment sections like wildfire. Celebrity reactions poured gasoline on the situation. One reality star posted, "Grief exposes everything people tried to hide," then quickly deleted it. Another liked a tweet that read, "Family betrayal hits harder than any enemy," before unliking it minutes later. Fans noticed. Screenshots spread. And suddenly the silence from the Braxton camp felt deafening. No denials, no clarifications. Just quiet, the kind of quiet that makes people believe something is being discussed behind lawyers' doors. Traci's son reportedly reached an emotional breaking point after seeing his mother described as difficult and divisive in recent discussions about the family. Insiders say he felt her reactions were being stripped of context, painted as personality flaws instead of responses to pain. One alleged quote attributed to him says, "She wasn't angry for no reason. She was reacting to disrespect." And when you place that statement next to the growing pile of alleged evidence, it becomes impossible to ignore. By the end of the week, blogs were reporting that a longer statement, possibly an interview, was being considered. Not to vent, to expose. And that possibility has everyone nervous. Because if Traci's son decides to speak in full detail, it won't just be emotional storytelling. It will be chronological. It will name moments that never aired. It will explain why certain relationships never healed. And it will force people to confront the possibility that one of the deepest fractures in the Braxton family didn't come from fame or money, but from a betrayal that hit too close to home. And just when it seemed like the chaos couldn't intensify, a new rumor began circulating late last night, one involving a voice note recorded during an argument years ago, where a line is allegedly spoken that could confirm everything fans are suspecting. If that recording surfaces, it won't just change opinions. It will force the family to respond. And the next reaction may be the most explosive one yet. By the time the second wave hit, the story had already outgrown the internet's ability to control it. What began as whispers hardened into something sharper, heavier, and impossible to dismiss. The alleged voice note everyone feared didn't stay a rumor for long. According to multiple bloggers, a short audio clip began circulating privately among fan pages, never posted in full, but described in chilling detail. In it, a woman's voice, widely believed to be Traci's, sounds exhausted, cracking as she says, "I'm not crazy and I'm not blind." The response, allegedly from someone close, is colder. "You're going to tear this family apart if you keep pushing." That single exchange, if authentic, reframed everything. Because it wasn't just about suspicion anymore. It was about silencing. Fans reacted instantly. The tone online shifted from curiosity to outrage. Hashtags demanding justice for Traci started trending. People stopped arguing whether something happened and started asking how long everyone knew. Old interviews resurfaced where Traci spoke about feeling isolated, dismissed, and painted as the problem whenever she raised concerns. At the time, it was chalked up to insecurity. Now, people are saying it sounds like gaslighting. And once that word entered the conversation, the floodgates opened. Insiders began leaking more context. Allegedly, the tension between Towanda and Kevin Surratt wasn't a one-time misunderstanding. Sources claim there were repeated moments that made Traci uncomfortable, private conversations that lasted too long, emotional reliance that crossed lines, and a closeness that felt inappropriate given the circumstances. One insider alleged Traci once walked into a room and abruptly left without saying a word, later telling someone, "I shouldn't have seen that." That sentence alone sent chills through fan communities, dissecting every possible implication. Towanda's past behavior came under renewed scrutiny. Old clips of her clashing with Traci went viral again, especially moments where Towanda appeared dismissive or defensive. One particularly uncomfortable scene shows Traci calling her out and Towanda responding with a smirk that now feels loaded. Fans flooded the comments saying, "We missed this," others said. "She was telling us." The narrative that Traci was simply the difficult sister started crumbling fast. Kevin Surratt's silence only intensified the chaos. He didn't issue a statement. He didn't deny the allegations. He didn't defend himself publicly. And in celebrity scandals, silence is never neutral. Insiders claim Kevin was advised to stay quiet because anything he said could contradict someone else's version of events. That alone fueled speculation that there were multiple truths being juggled behind the scenes. One blogger claimed Kevin privately told someone, "I was trying to keep peace," a phrase that fans immediately interpreted as confirmation that lines were blurred, even if intentions weren't malicious. Then came the alleged meltdown. According to a source close to the family, a recent confrontation exploded when Traci's son directly asked why his father was being treated like an outsider. Voices were raised, accusations flew, and at one point he allegedly said, "You act like my mom was the problem, but you never say what caused her to react." That question reportedly went unanswered. Instead, the conversation ended abruptly with someone storming out. The lack of denial spoke volumes. Social media turned ruthless. TikTok creators analyzed body language from old episodes, pointing out moments where Towanda and Kevin seemed unusually aligned during family disputes. Twitter threads accused the family of rewriting history now that Traci isn't here to defend herself. Instagram comment sections became battlegrounds, with fans demanding Towanda address the allegations directly. Her response? Cryptic posts about lies, healing, and letting God handle enemies. That only made things worse. Because when specific accusations are met with vague spirituality, people assume avoidance. Celebrity reactions added fuel. One singer who'd toured with the family posted, "I always felt something was off, but I wasn't close enough to say anything." Another reality star commented, "Traci deserved better," then disabled replies. Screenshots spread like wildfire. Every indirect comment felt like confirmation. Every silence felt calculated. Behind the scenes, insiders say the family was scrambling. Emergency meetings, heated phone calls, discussions about legal exposure. One source claimed there was concern that if Traci's son spoke in detail, it could expose not just emotional betrayal but intentional manipulation of narratives for television. Because if producers were aware of tension tied to this alleged relationship and chose to bury it, the fallout wouldn't stop with the family. It would spread. The most devastating development came when fans began connecting Traci's health struggles to the stress she endured. While nobody is making direct claims, the emotional weight of feeling betrayed, unheard, and isolated became part of the conversation. Comment sections filled with grief and anger, with people saying, "They broke her spirit." Whether fair or not, that sentiment caught fire, and once public opinion shifts into moral judgment, there's no PR strategy that can reverse it. Traci's son reportedly felt overwhelmed by the response. Insiders claim he didn't expect this level of attention, only accountability. One alleged message from him reads, "I'm not doing this for clicks. I'm doing this because the truth matters." That statement hardened his supporters' resolve. They weren't going to let the story fade. Not now. And just as the pressure reached a breaking point, a new twist emerged. A source claimed there exists a longer recording, not emotional, not chaotic, but calm and detailed, where Traci allegedly explains exactly what she believed was happening and why it hurt her so deeply. If that recording exists and surfaces, it wouldn't be interpreted. It would be heard in her own voice. And that possibility has everyone on edge, because the next reveal wouldn't be rumor or reaction. It would be testimony. By the time the third wave of revelations hit, the situation had crossed the line from scandal into something raw, emotional, and uncontrollable. What once lived in whispers and side-eyes had now become a full-blown reckoning, and everyone involved could feel it tightening like a vice. According to multiple alleged insiders, the longer recording people feared wasn't just real, it had been played for a select few, and the reaction was described as sickeningly quiet. No shouting, no dramatics. Just Traci's voice, steady but wounded, laying out her suspicions in a way that left no room for confusion. Not accusations screamed in anger, observations spoken in pain. Those who claim to have heard it say the most haunting part wasn't what she alleged, but how resigned she sounded, as if she already knew what would happen if she pushed too hard, as if she understood that speaking too loudly would cost her more than staying silent ever did. One source says Traci allegedly said, "I keep being told I'm overreacting, but nobody can explain why this hurts the way it does." That sentence alone reportedly made grown adults cry. Because it captured something far bigger than a rumor. It captured isolation. Word of the recording sent the family into what insiders are calling full lockdown mode. Communication tightened. Circles shrank. People who were once accessible suddenly became unreachable. Calls went unanswered. Messages left unread. And in the middle of it all was Traci's son, watching history repeat itself in real time. Sources say he was urged, begged to stop talking, to let things cool down, to think about the bigger picture. His response, according to someone close to him, was simple and devastating. "My mother was the bigger picture." Social media reacted like a pressure cooker with no release valve. Fans stopped theorizing and started mourning the idea that Traci may have spent years questioning her own instincts, mourning the possibility that her anger was less about personality and more about survival. TikTok filled with tributes that felt different this time, not celebratory, but apologetic. "We didn't protect her. We laughed it off. She deserved to be believed." The tone had shifted permanently. Towanda's response, or lack of one, became its own headline. No direct denial, no clarification, just carefully curated posts about peace, growth, and moving forward. To fans, it felt like avoidance dressed up as grace. Comment sections exploded, forcing posts to be limited or deleted. People weren't asking politely anymore. They were demanding answers, and every hour without one hardened public opinion further. Kevin Surratt, meanwhile, became the most scrutinized figure in the entire storm. Insiders say he was visibly shaken by how fast things escalated. Some claim he felt betrayed by everyone at once, blamed by the public, iced out by the family, and haunted by things he never fully addressed when Traci was alive. One alleged quote attributed to him says, "I thought keeping quiet was protecting her." That statement didn't land the way he may have hoped. Because protection without truth looks a lot like neglect. The most explosive development came when a former production associate allegedly spoke off the record to a blogger, claiming there were conversations years ago about tension between Traci, Towanda, and Kevin that were deemed too sensitive for television. According to this source, producers were advised to steer storylines away from anything involving Kevin's proximity to certain family members. If true, that would mean the issue wasn't just known, it was actively buried. And once the idea of intentional concealment entered the narrative, the outrage doubled. Celebrity reactions grew bolder. One singer posted, "If a woman tells you she feels disrespected in her marriage, listen." Another wrote, "Being family doesn't excuse crossing lines." Neither named names. They didn't have to. Fans connected the dots instantly. Reaction videos racked up millions of views. Lives ran for hours with people dissecting every angle, every motive, every silence. Traci's son reportedly struggled with the emotional weight of it all. Sources say he broke down privately, overwhelmed by grief resurfacing in waves he hadn't prepared for. He wasn't trying to destroy anyone, insiders insist. He was trying to reclaim something that felt stolen, his mother's narrative. One alleged message from him reads, "She's not here to defend herself, so I will." That sentence became a rallying cry. Behind closed doors, the family was allegedly fracturing even further. Long-standing alliances cracked. Old resentments resurfaced. People who once presented a united front were now questioning who knew what and when. According to one insider, a family meeting ended abruptly after someone said, "This wouldn't be happening if we had handled it back then." No one disagreed. That silence said everything. Then, just as the chaos seemed to peak, a new detail surfaced that sent shockwaves through every corner of the conversation. A source claimed there exists a written message, not emotional, not reactive, where Traci explicitly states she felt betrayed by someone she trusted inside the family. The name in that message has not been confirmed publicly, but insiders say if it ever becomes visible, it will remove all ambiguity, because it wouldn't be interpretation, it would be her words. As of now, everything feels suspended in midair. Fans are waiting. The family is silent. The internet is restless. And the story refuses to die down because too many pieces suddenly fit together in ways they never did before. This isn't about scandal anymore. It's about whether Traci Braxton's pain was misunderstood or deliberately minimized. And the next move, whether a statement, a leak, or a voice speaking directly, could permanently reshape how this family is seen. Because once a truth like this is acknowledged, even partially, it doesn't go back into hiding. It waits, it festers, and it demands to be finished. If you're still watching right now, understand this. You're witnessing a moment that people will be referencing for years. This isn't just another celebrity scandal that fades after a weekend. This is one of those stories where silence becomes a choice, and paying attention becomes a responsibility. Because the reason stories like this get buried is because people move on too fast. And that's exactly what cannot happen here. If you believe Traci deserved to be heard, if you believe her story deserves to be told in full and not edited, minimized, or rewritten, then you need to make noise right now. Hit like because algorithms don't care about justice, they care about engagement. Drop a comment because conversations keep pressure where it belongs. And subscribe immediately because the next update won't come with a warning. When it breaks, it will break fast, and the people who miss it will be the ones asking later how they didn't see it coming. This channel is not here to protect comfort. It's here to expose patterns, ask the questions others avoid, and keep stories alive when powerful people want them forgotten. Walking away now is exactly what silence depends on. Staying locked in is how truth stays visible. Don't wait. Don't assume someone else will cover the next reveal. Be here when it happens. Because once the next piece drops, a statement, a receipt, a voice, the narrative will shift permanently. And the only people who won't be caught off guard are the ones who stayed watching.